Broadcasting live from the Seed Core on the plane of Phyrexia, this is TapTapConcede. Welcome everybody to TapTapConcede. My name is Graham, and joining me is Kathleen and Wheeler.
Thank you for having me, Graham. It is great to be here.
Excellent. It's nice to have you.
I think your catchphrase might be better than mine, which is just being worried.
A startled shout.
And concerned that somebody's calling on me.
Yeah. It's good, though. I feel that it's very you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can feel the anxiety.
Mm-hmm. And James is here on tech.
Thanks,
Today,
James.
We're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff that did a bunch of recent teasers and card reveals and stuff sort of in preparation for, the next several sets going all the way to the summer. And so we'll talk a little bit about some of that today. But before we do, a reminder, of course, this show is brought to you by Card Kingdom. Check out cardkingdom.com/LRR for all of your cardboard needs. We continue to work with them because we think they're great, and their customer service is excellent. And you can tell them, loading ready, run, sent me button, please, and they'll give you a little 1-inch button, which currently says, a pox upon the auto tapper. And of course, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. And we really appreciate it. So at MagicCon Philly, which we talked about last episode, which if you haven't heard, it went up on the unusual Friday, because we were because normally we record them on Friday, but we were in Philadelphia on Friday, and then don't worry about it. Anyway, we talked about that. So that was myself and James, Ben, and Wheeler talking about going to MagicCon Philly. But they had on Sunday, they had the peak preview. This is going great.
This is a peak preview.
Peak preview of some cards from March of the Machine.
Oh, no. I mean, well, that was my reaction upon seeing them.
Yeah. Now, the first thing that everyone needs to remember, because I keep screwing this up, is machine singular. It is the Phyrexian machine.
Yeah, because all will be one.
Yes, it is March of the Machine. Mm-hmm. I've gotten that wrong so many times.
So it's not named after a set or a card.
No. There is a card called March of the
Machines,
which is fine. What does it do?
Thank you for asking, Graham. It's 3 in a blue. It's an enchantment from original Mirrodin, and it says each non-creature artifact is now a creature in addition to its types, with power and toughness equal to its converted mana cost. Equipment that's a creature can't equip to a creature.
Is that...
It's a riff on
good?
Titania's song from Antiquities.
Sure.
And I don't know if it was good, but I played this at a lot of FNMs with Darksteel Ingot and Obliterate.
Oh.
Darksteel Ingot's indestructible.
Yep. And Obliterate destroys artifacts, creatures, and lands, leaving your enchantment in play, unable to destroy Darksteel Ingot. And all of this is modern playable.
Why isn't it just taking over the modern tables?
I don't know. Maybe people can't see the appeal of a manolith and an 8-mana sorcery. Cowards, all of them.
So, we're going to start with the stuff that they showed
machine.
up for March of the Machine. They had a particular sort of cadence to how they were revealing stuff over the course of this, but we're going to start with whatever James shows us first. Yeah. Oh, right. Fairy Mastermind. This is Yuta Takahashi's World Championship card. You don't see a lot of people wearing glasses in Magic art.
No. More glasses in Magic art.
Yeah.
Look at this podcast.
That's true, actually, yeah.
It's finally a card that represents me. An astigmatist who's got big dreams.
So this is Fairy Mastermind. 1 in a blue for a 2/1 Fairy Rogue with flash and flying. Whenever an opponent draws their second card each turn, you draw a card.
Ooh.
And then for 3 in a blue, each player draws a card. So, of course, if you're activating that on their turn, then that will be their second card, and you'll get to draw a card as well. So you'll get to draw 2 cards off that ability if you're activating it on their turn, if I'm figuring this out correctly. Yep. It's a 2/1. Apparently, Takahashi wanted it to be a 1/3 so it could block Ragavan.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Ragavan and Thalia, I think, were the two
Yes,
cards.
he mentioned Ragavan and Thalia specifically, yeah.
Man of my own heart.
Yeah, and they were like, that's too powerful.
Oh. Oh,
So
that's really funny though.
yeah, it was great. Yeah, no, I love this. The last one of these we saw would have been Elite Spellbinder. Was
Yeah.
that the most recent one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was PVDVR.
Mhm.
So, and then who do we get to see next? Is it Stoyer won Worlds?
You're speaking of a time frame in professional Magic where who knows?
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, now onto some more sort of perhaps relevant to the set cards, or in terms of storyline. What do we have next? Just fire through it.
All right, how about this card?
Oh
We
yeah,
love Heliod. We love Theros.
yeah. So this is where we start to see how some things might not be going great for the good guys, being the people who aren't Phyrexians.
Heliod, the good guys.
Well, that's the thing. It's like when they revealed this at the thing, there was cheers because Heliod sucks, right?
Yeah.
So as a character, here's the card. It's 2 white, legendary enchantment creature, God. He's a 4/4. When Heliod Radiant Dawn enters the battlefield, return target enchantment card that isn't a god from your graveyard to your hand. So pretty cool there. And then there's this activated ability for 3 and a Phyrexian blue. So you can activate that in any deck just by paying the 2 life for it, but you can get away with it better if you're in Azorius, I suppose. You transform Heliod only as a sorcery, and he turns into Heliod the Warped Eclipse.
Oh, that's so bad.
Which is very bad for Theros. A 4/6 Phyrexian god that says you may cast spells as though they had flash, and spells you cast cost 1 generic mana less to cast for each card your opponents have drawn this turn. That seems super fun.
Gross.
Yeah. Also, the flavor text on the front is from a Johnny, and it says, complete the faith, complete the god. And then on the back, complete the god, complete the plane. So things are going badly for Theros.
Theros does not look like it's having its best day.
No. That's cool, though. They Phyrexionized a god.
I mean, they had it coming, right?
Well-
After Thassa's Oracle and Underworld Breach and Uro and Croxa. Like, yeah, you know what? That's okay. Complete Theros. It's fine.
Wait, Croxa was from...
Theros Beyond.
Oh, yeah, right. It was from Theros. Okay. All right.
Which, not to do this to you, came out 3 years ago.
What?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Oh.
3 years ago.
That was Theros Beyond Death the last in-person PPR we had before
It was.
Yeah, it was.
before lockdown? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I remembered the other day, this is a tangent, I remembered that we did one for Ikoria, and I remembered nothing about it, and went and looked it up, and it was like a whole day thing with different, it was all remote, with different groups of people, and it was like each one of us paired with 2 guests, going for like 3 or 4 hours. I didn't remember anything about it.
Who were the guests?
I had Luis and Gabby.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I don't remember.
You had, I don't know. Megan and Maria were there. I think they were in different groups. Dave Humphreys from Wizards was one of them. I think Blake was around for one of them as well. Yeah.
I have no memory of this.
Yeah. No, absolutely nothing. Because this was
This is peak pandemic.
this was April 2020.
All right.
Oh yeah,
Here-
everybody thought they were going to die.
Here you go. Graham, you were with LSV and Gabby.
Mm-hmm.
Cameron was with Dave Humphreys and Prof.
Okay.
Adam was with Olivia and Sam.
All right.
Ben was with Melissa and Amy. Serge was with Blake and Megan. And Kathleen, you were with Maria and BDM.
Wow.
Oh, I remember that. I remember. You just had to tell me. You just say BDM, and then his face flashed into my mind.
Yeah. So there we go. That was a weird one. Anyway, yeah. Get out of here, Theros, I guess.
Did you put that group together as the people who like good food group? The BDM, me, and Maria.
I have no idea. I don't remember anything.
Next, we see Jin-Gitaxias. So, brief aside, just already about the name. It's just Jin-Gitaxias.
Jin-Gitaxias.
There's no comma.
No.
There's no other title or anything. It's just Jin.
Yeah.
It's just this guy. So 3 blue for a 5/5 Praetor. Ward 2, because why not? And whenever you cast a non-creature spell with mana value 3 or greater, draw a card. That's already pretty spicy. For 3 to blue, exile Jin-Gitaxias, and then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Activate only as a sorcery, and only if you have 7 or more cards in your hand. And if you do, how badly do you get to win the game? Let me tell you, he turns into a saga called The Great Synthesis. Chapter 1. Draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand, which has to be at least 7. You have no maximum hand size for as long as you control the Great Synthesis. Chapter 2. Return all non-Phyrexian creatures to their owner's hands.
Oh, no.
And Chapter 3. You may cast any number of spells from your hand without paying their mana costs. Then you exile the Great Synthesis. Then return it to the battlefield as Jin-Gitaxias.
Yeah. Just in case you don't win the game from that third chapter. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, you could try again, I guess.
This card seems really strong.
Yep. Pretty good.
I don't like that. But
What-
I mean, I like that if I'm playing it, but I don't want to play against it.
No.
But it is like a 5 mana. So, like, you have a turn to remove.
Yeah, it's a
Jin
5-mana creature with
Gitaxias?
Ward 2. They don't necessarily get to, so in limited, it's turn 5 before they play it. It's going to take them a while to get back up to 7 cards in hand to flip it.
That's true.
It doesn't have evasion. Like, this is a pretty cool... I mean, maybe I'll regret saying this, but it's a pretty cool way to design a mythic.
Yeah.
Where, like, you look at it and you're like, yeah, this is really strong, but I can picture so many limited games where this is just kind of a big donkey that maybe draws them a couple of cards. And, like, even games where they use this ability and maybe don't win.
Yeah.
Like,
I can see that potentially happening.
yeah, I mean, very slim, but this card can't really interact well with like a Wind Drake, like just a 3-mana 2/2 flyer. And so, like, that's usually a good sign.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. All right, what's next?
Who wants to see a planeswalker?
Oh, a Planeswalker.
Me.
Right. Chandra, Hope's Beacon.
Oh, it's Hope.
Yeah. What did you think it was?
Home.
Oh. No, she's the beacon of hope. She's also, this art is amazing. She's crying molten tears.
Kieran Yonner.
It's very good. 4 red for a 5-mana, 5 loyalty, Planeswalker, Chandra. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it. You can choose new targets for the copy. This ability triggers only once each turn. That's just a static thing that she does.
Cool.
+2, add 2 mana in any combination of colors. So play Chandra on 6, +2, add 2 mana, cast 2 lightning strikes. Ooh, sounds great. +1, exile the top 5 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from among those exiled cards. It's not for free. You still got to pay for the card, but that's nice. And then -X is Chandra Hope's Beacon deals X damage to each of up to 2 targets.
So you could like do 5 damage to 2 things and wipe her out immediately.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Or 4 damage to 2 things.
Yeah.
And have her stick around.
Yeah.
And then untap and
Go ham.
win the game.
Get
I
in
hope.
there.
Well, one would hope, yeah. This is sweet.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the best friend cards.
All right.
First up,
Oh, right, the best friends. So, yes. So there's this whole bunch of cards. I hesitate to say cycle, but there's a bunch of cards. They showed off some from in the set, like this one. They showed off some from Commander, which we'll see in a little bit, of team-ups of basically legendary creatures from given planes. So this is these two are helping to defend Zendikar.
Zendikar, yeah.
And so this is Drana and Linvala. So because it's a team-up, they get all the subtypes. So this card is a Vampire Angel, which is
Just
sweet,
like so many fanfics I've read.
right? 1 white, black for a 3/4 with flying and vigilance. Activated abilities of creatures your opponents control can't be activated. And Drana and Linvala have all activated abilities of all creatures your opponents control. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to activate those abilities.
Thanks, I hate it. Yep. Great.
Dave Humphries was saying, of course, it has vigilance, so that in case it gains a tap ability, you can attack with it and still activate.
Yeah.
It's a 3/4 flying vigilance for 4. Just ignore everything else. That's pretty good.
Every one of these is super cool, by the way. Apparently, they had like a couple of these sort of team ups in like the development of the set. This is again from the panel. This is according to Dave Humphreys, and every time that like the playtest feedback was more of these.
Mm-hmm.
These are so fun, and
Oh.
yeah, this is it's Drana and Linvala. They're partners. It's super cool, I think.
I mean, it is just kind of the Reese's peanut butter cups
Yeah.
of cards. And like typically, if somebody said what is the Reese's peanut butter cup of like Magic, and I'm thinking I'm going to give a really antiquated reference, but like the Volver cycle for Invasion,
Right.
where like those kind of cards are so cool because you're like, ooh, I mean, this part's good and this part's good, and I can have them kind of separate, I guess. But what if I got them all together?
You're right.
And that feels so cool to work for, and then to also have.
Yeah.
And because it's 2020, or give or take,
3. Yeah.
now you don't actually have to do the extra work to get that.
It was on the same card.
But it feels okay.
Yeah.
Like this card is just super sick. Everything about these cards that we've seen are so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who else you got? Right.
Yeah, this card is
Like,
okay.
Galta and Mavrin.
So I was following along. There's a Twitter thread that went out,
Yeah.
and I was very invested in this Twitter thread. I probably should have been working, doing something else, but this Twitter thread came out, and I was just like constantly like, I need to, because I wasn't at Philly, and I was like, okay, I see what they're doing here. It makes sense that legendary creatures would team up to defend their realms from the Phyrexian invasion. Okay, cool. See Drana and Linvala. Got it. See Galton, my eyebrows shot off my head. I was like, okay. I was not expecting dinosaur vampire.
Galta and Mavrin is 3
Unlikely.
green, white for a 12/12 with trample. And they were talking about developing the card, and it's like Galta's a 12/12, right? So like, what's Mavrin bringing to the power and toughness? Sort of irrelevant, right? Like, how much power and toughness is a vampire going to bring?
Look how small he is.
Yeah, exactly. So they were like, it can just be Galta's power and toughness. Whenever you attack, you choose one. You either create a tapped and attacking XX green dinosaur with trample, where X is the greatest power among other attacking creatures.
Oh.
So not Galta, but other attacking creatures. Or you create X 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink, where X is the number of other attacking creatures.
Okay, so Mavrin is he's the one who's organizing this.
Yeah.
He's like he's the brains. He's
Yeah.
on top of the brains. And he's like, all right, you go in there and I'll either get you a dinosaur or some vampires to back you up, right?
Could you actually pull up, James, yes, perfect. So this is the showcase frame for Ixalan. Last time we went to Ixalan, there was no showcase frame
That's true.
for it. So this is now what we're seeing here of them on a coin. And the artist here is Jody Clark, was talking to Jeremy Knoll about this, and his partner was very excited because Jody Clark is like someone who used to work at the Royal Mint.
Yeah.
And actually like did the sculpting for the last struck headshot of the Queen
Wow.
for the Royal Mint. So like this is someone who's like done this professionally for years, which is amazing. Also, just the showcase frame is gorgeous. This is actually something that we'll see going forward as we talk about these cards. If you're watching the video version, is that and I think this is super cool. The showcase versions of these cards are in the style of the plane when we last went there, right? So like it's from Zendikar. There's the Zendikar frame from wow, I couldn't think of anything beyond that. Dominaria, it's like looks like the stained glass. Ixalan didn't have one. It does now, so that's what this is.
Oh, they look like coins.
Yeah, that's really neat. Right, Yargle and Multani. So great to see Yargle. I love that Multani just doubled Yargle's power and toughness. So it's 3 black, green. So 6 mana for a Frog Spirit Elemental. It's an 18/6. That's it. Vanilla Creatures back again. We got asked almost immediately if we were responsible for this flavor text. We're not. We were not part of the flavor text team for this. But this is very funny and good flavor text. I've heard much about you from my daughter, Multani rumbled. There was a time when I'd balk at your aid, Phantom, but she has shown me the merit in Urborg's strange ways. To which Yargle replies, Fribbit. Which, it speaks to me. It's so good. It's so silly and great. I love it. I like that on the showcase frame, they're just sort of like hanging out together, and on the regular frame, they're like merged into one being, kind of like Multani's like wrapped himself around Yargle, I guess, kind of.
He's like, let me give you some more arms.
Yeah. It's
but
great.
All the better to direct things towards your mouth.
Yeah. Now, we got to talk about Thalia and the Gitrog monster. There are many legendary creatures on Innistrad that they could have chosen, but they went with Thalia and the Gitrog monster.
Do you mind if I give a comprehensive breakdown of where this meme began?
Yes,
Please?
I was going to ask for
Christ.
background on
Okay.
this meme.
So, the meme of the Gitrog ate Thalia, or referencing as any Gitrog, or of the card, the Gitrog monster being Thalia. If you look on the art of the Gitrog monster, there is an arm hanging out of its mouth.
Yeah, this is the original Gitrog
The original
monster.
Gitrog from Shadows over Innistrad.
Yeah.
So the year is like 2014, no, 2016.
2016.
Whenever this came out.
2016.
2016. I was playing a lot of Death and Taxes and Mono White in Canadian Highlander locally. And there is a very unique dynamic between all of the Canadian Highlander players in Victoria, BC. And a joke that stemmed from me playing Mono White a lot involved one of the counselors of the format and a previous roommate of mine, and how they were like making like a joke about it's a shame what happened to Thalia, Gitrog got her, came out of nowhere. And we would just keep hamming up, continuously talking about how the Gitrog monster had eaten and killed Thalia. And the entire time be like, no, don't say that. She's still alive. She survived. Trying to ham up like, no, it's not true. There's no way. But it's like, all right, well, the Gitrog ate Thalia. And we said it enough that folks that were less familiar with the lore locally thought that was true, that it was canon.
Yep.
And some of those folks happened to be previous co-hosts on North 100. And so when they were doing the set review for Shadows over Innistrad, one of them mentioned, like, as a little tidbit at the end, like, and that's Thalia's arm. Like, the Gitrog ate Thalia. And when that VOD went up on YouTube, the entire YouTube comment section, I have still like a collage saved on my computer of every comment being like, the Gitrog didn't eat Thalia. That's not Thalia. What are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. And obviously, we get a new Thalia in Eldritch Moon immediately after Thalia Heretic Cathar,
Right.
proving, the Gitrog didn't eat Thalia.
Yeah.
But it became such a good trolling moment that at any point, even beyond that, we just said like, the Gitrog ate Thalia.
Yeah.
And now we have the Thalia and the Gitrog
On the same
on
card.
the same card.
So it's 1 white, black, green for a 4/4 human frog horror with First Strike and Death Touch, which is already astounding. Because we know First Strike and Death Touch is an improbable.
It's a
stat
very
line.
good combo.
You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Creatures and non-basic lands your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. And whenever Thalia and the Gitrog attacks, sacrifice a creature or land, then draw a card. You have to do that. Yeah.
What if you don't have any other creatures to sacrifice? Oh, then you have to sacrifice your land.
Sacrifice it
Yeah.
or sack the land, yeah.
Yeah. And we see also the Crimson Vow or no, the Midnight Hunt Harvesttide frame there with some excellent art. Now, somewhere I saw art that I cannot find again. I was frantically looking for it while Wheeler was telling the story.
The Japanese one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where is that? Do you have that, James? Is that that's official, right? That's not
I didn't actually think it was official. It seemed too
on the nose.
perfect for it, but I did like it.
Like, I'm not sure if it's just if it was fan art or what.
Where?
It's thrilling podcast as we desperately search our phones to try and find.
I can't find it. I thought I liked it. Maybe I retweeted it.
We've
but
made Thalia and the Gitrog monster jokes on punt counterpunt,
Yeah.
as in her being eaten by it.
I did see.
We photoshopped in a Thalia arm onto the Gitrog monster,
Yes.
I believe.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, specifically
Oh,
Thalia's
I
art.
found it. I don't know how to get this card art
To
I
James?
just can't. This is not official.
No?
No.
Okay.
It still credits Howard Lyon.
Okay. It was
as
just
the,
it's very cute anime style art of Thalia literally in the Gitrog's mouth.
Yeah, she's like, ah!
Yeah.
But, you
Yeah.
know, it's Thalia and the Gitrog
The
monster.
community kind of popped off over this combo,
Mm-hmm.
which makes sense because it's so cute. I saw one where it's the Akira, like Kaneda walking to
Walking to the motorbike,
the
but
motorbike,
it's the Gitrog monster.
and it's Thalia walking to the Gitrog monster.
Yeah, it's so good.
That very rarely do I see something and immediately go like, oh, t-shirt. Need that on a t-shirt.
By the way, my favorite story about this particular reveal is that we went to dinner on Friday with Trick, who we've worked with at Wizards for many years, and he, without specifying, he just said, "Wheeler, are you okay if we tag you in a tweet on Sunday for something?" And he was like, "Okay." And so Wheeler got tagged in the tweet for revealing Thalia and the Gitrog monster for all the reasons that Wheeler just mentioned. But then they forgot to, like, the way that Twitter works, or doesn't work a lot of the time these days, didn't untag Wheeler from every previous tweet.
Yep. It's
We told this story last episode, but it's still funny to me.
very funny. Yeah, could have
Yeah.
muted it. That's okay. I've Twitter was completely, I mean, more so than usual, completely unusable.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, what else do we have? Oh, right.
Oh, no.
Omnath. Bad news. Omnath finally got his black mana pip, but not how
No.
you wanted.
No.
Yeah. So this is Omnath, Locus of All, who now casts for green and red and white and blue, and now a Phyrexian black
You could
mana.
only pay it with Phyrexian mana.
Yeah, well, no, you could pay that with black.
Oh,
but
that's true.
But you could also pay with two
I feel
life.
like it's only like in flavor if you pay your life.
That's fair. So yeah, legendary creature, Phyrexian Elemental, a 4/4. If you would lose unspent mana, that mana becomes black instead. So you get to do the same sort of thing where you just get to bank mana. You never lose it. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, look at the top card of your library. You may reveal that card if it has 3 or more colored mana symbols in its mana cost. If you do, add 3 mana in any combination of its colors and put it into your hand. If you don't reveal it, put it into your hand.
Ooh.
So you just get to draw an extra card every turn. And then there's the Zendikar showcase frame. Looking very cool. Sort of Kool-Aid manning through some Zendikar flying islands
yeah.
there. And then there's also this one, which
Or
looks
Omnath.
sick as heck.
This is truly the Om Nom Nom Nath to end them all.
We don't know, and maybe we never will know, if this is something that happened to Omnath or something that Omnath wanted. We don't know.
Again, much like how Heliod and Theros is having a bad time, I'm okay that Omnath pays for the crimes of
I had a
Of many commander
Locus
players.
of Creation.
I
Yeah.
had a mono green Omnath deck way back in the day, and Omnath was cool. And then I don't know, he fell in with a bad crowd, got a bunch of weird nonsense up in his casting cost, and just
You changed, man.
yeah, people turned on him. What can I say?
So the last couple things that we could look at for March specifically are the common gain lands. Which aren't obviously in themselves exciting, but the flavor text on all 10 are pretty neat, so we could
Let's whip
quickly,
through those.
Yeah.
quickly take a look at these.
So Bloodfell Caves, having learned of New Capenna's Halo supply, Elish Norn dispatched Atraxa herself to bring the world to heal. Of course, Halo being pretty relevant for
Not getting phyresis.
Yeah.
yeah. So Well, there's that. Blossoming Sands, the Copper Host brought a hideous mockery of new life to Amonkhet's death-cursed desert.
Amonkhet has been through enough.
I don't know why they would go to Amonkhet anyway, but...
Oh, God.
Dismal Backwater, the invasion tree's branches snaked through the streets of Otawara, turning Kamigawa's soaring city into a clouded nightmare.
That seems bad.
They...
That's your favorite plane, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure is.
Yeah.
Don't like that.
Jungle Hollow. On the surface of Ixalan's vast tar pits, Phyrexian oil glistened and old bones began to stir. That's very metal. I like that a lot, actually.
There's a card from Modern Horizons 2 that it's called like Fountain of Ichor, where it mentioned Ixalan and it mentioned oil. I don't know if it was a direct, like it's like a fountainhead that's a
Fountain of Ichor. Sun Empire priests thought they were digging a well. What they tapped was something different entirely.
I mean, it could just be relating to
maybe this is
just
tar,
normal
but-
tar
Yeah.
and oil.
It's
But
cool, though.
when we did the Phyrexia All Will Be One, like lore dive, the amount of like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, something bad is happening with Phyrexia that popped up across Horizon sets as well as Commander Legends from this time period was pretty surprising how much there was. So
I missed a lot of it. I'm going to have to go back and take a look. Rugged Highlands, the Royal, Zendikar's plane-wide immune system, rose in full force against the threat of Phyrexian infection. Honestly, my money's on the Royal, but I guess we'll see how that shakes out.
I mean, Zendikar was able to, like, fight off the Eldrazi.
Zendikar heals real quick, yeah. Scoured Barrens, as oil seeped from Ikoria's crystals, strange metallic mutations emerged in monsters all across the plain.
That seems so bad.
It's very bad, yeah. Swiftwater Cliffs, Kaladesh's wondrous inventions and glowing ether were of utmost interest to Jin-Gitaxias and his chrome host. So is that the chrome host, the copper host? Is it the porcelain host?
I don't know yet. I don't
I'm
think
trying to
it's
think
been
of
mentioned.
the different names of the groups.
Yeah, porcelain. Porcelain's on teeth, so I feel like that should be.
Yeah. Well, wasn't there a card in Phyrexian Obi-Wan called like Porcelain Host something?
Or like porcelain zealot or something.
Yeah.
I don't think they've revealed that yet, to be honest with you.
Anyway. And Thornwood Falls. Deep in Eldraine's wilds,
Oh.
strange eye-like appendages twined among the vines and fairy lights.
No.
So this is interesting because we know that later this year we're going to the wilds of Eldraine. So curious what it's going to look like when we get there. Tranquil Cove, the sky darkened and the seas turned to oil as the gods of Theros themselves fell to new Phyrexia. Not necessarily all the gods, though, right? Right, guys? Right? Just Heliod, right? Maybe.
Yeah, why is there an S there?
Maybe another one? that
Surely
we-
not. Surely just the biggest, most important.
Maybe
god.
another one that we don't like so much?
No,
Oh, and there's
they're
more,
all
right.
assholes.
Windscarred Crag. Sarah was a symbol of hope to Dominaria, so Norn defiled her temples with monuments to Phyrexia.
That is rude.
That's so
Stopping
rude.
to do civic works projects. Awful.
Replace that statue with one of me.
What are some of the planes that they didn't hit there? Like Ravnica's not mentioned there, right?
Good.
That's
Leave
true.
Ravnica alone.
That's
I'd
true.
be curious to see, like,
Ravnica's
arguably one
already
of the
been through
most
a
sort
lot.
of popular planes, right? So
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see what sort of, maybe it's more deserving of a common land, I suppose.
Wizards showing they won't even return to Lorwyn to destroy it.
Well, now, so we don't have a card for it, but they did show art for what we assume are the battles. We assume this because they're like landscape, they're like portrait style, landscape aspect. And they showed 5 cards called Invasion of blank.
Oh.
And they were the invasion of Lorwyn,
No.
invasion of Tarkir, invasion
Oh, there's
of
another popular plane everyone liked.
Mercadia.
No.
Yeah.
No. No.
In the art, Ramos is like tearing a Phyrexian blimp in half.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right, never mind. Good.
I'm sure you can eat Phyrexians and it'll have no effect on you.
What were the other two? It was
Hold on.
Chandelar.
Hold on, let me. I
Yeah.
was going to say, let me think of some other planes that I really like that we haven't been back to.
And
If you say Rabia, I'm leaving.
no, I can't. They probably wouldn't bring Rabia back up again. What was the fifth one? Do you have that handy? I can't remember what they were.
I believe I tweeted, I wanted to go back to Lorwyn, but not like this.
Yeah, that is also the comment in the on the subreddit.
I'll allow
Everyone's mood is like, no.
I'll allow Segovia, but only if we get very tiny Phyrexians.
Oh, it's
Little
Alara.
babies. Oh, well, that place was a mess already.
Didn't you tell me something about one of the stories that?
Yeah, that happens at the end of the story. Is Tezzeret goes to Alara, and the invasion force shows up on Alara as he's just leaving. So he like recruits some kid to like go and warn the people in like the different shard or whatever, because he's in like the nasty blue-black one. And he says, yes, tell them Tezzeret sent you, an ally of Elspeth Tyrell. And I was like, you asshole.
You are lying. Yeah.
You're such an asshole, but I guess it's the thought that counts. It was a good thought, and then he decided not to defend his homeland, but fucked off to the meditation realm.
Kathleen.
Pissed off to the meditation realm. Sitting this one out like a true hero. I hate Tezzeret. What a good bad guy.
Yeah.
No notes.
And those are all the cards that they showed off for Merchant of the Machine?
Those are all the ones that I see here, yes.
Okay,
From
cool.
the main
I think that is... Oh, no, wait. There was one, Breach the Multiverse?
I just noticed it, yeah. Breach
Yeah, there we
the
go.
Multiverse.
5 black for a sorcery. This art is wild. Each player mills 10 cards. For each player, choose a creature or planeswalker in that player's graveyard. Put those cards onto the battlefield under your control. Then, each creature you control becomes a Phyrexian in addition to its other types.
It's probably nothing.
It's probably nothing. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh, right, yes. I also wanted to take a quick look at... actually, there was one more card, now that I realized. There was Moment of Truth. 1 in a blue. Like, the card... They showed this card off not because the card itself is super interesting. It's 1 in a blue. Instant, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put 1 of them into your hand, 1 into your graveyard, and 1 on the bottom of your library. Cool. Good card. Flavor text. On the precipice of eternity... Elspeth made a choice. The fight would not end without her. So this is Elspeth in the Blind Eternities with white feathers in the foreground, which is, I see Kathleen activating.
Suspiciously close to what I was like.
To your predictions, yeah. Which are on a podcast.
I don't need to repeat them.
We've got them
but just
recorded.
know that... Was I right?
Well, I guess we'll find out.
It's looking like
Looks better
bet on
every
me.
day.
I'm available to consult, by the way. If you're like, boy, I need to make a story and I need to make it so it's good and people do not expect what's coming. Run it by me.
There you go. And
or just hire me to write something for
there are 3 more cards from the Commander sets, which are 3 more of the team-ups.
Team ups.
So let's take a quick look at those. We've got Goro and Satoru. So that's blue, black, red for a 3/4 goblin human.
Yeah.
Whenever 1 or more creatures you control that enter the battlefield this turn deal combat damage to a player, create a 5/5 red dragon spirit creature token with flying. So great with ninjas.
Mm-hmm.
And for 1 in a red, creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. So that's super cool. I like that a lot. Catilda and Lear. What a fun team. Green, white, blue for a 3/3 legendary creature human. Whenever you cast a human spell, target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. Flashback cost is equal to its mana cost.
How good is that?
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Well, for Highlander, I mean, it dies to Bolt.
True.
This card seems very good for higher power commander, though.
Yeah. So these are, we know these are from commander sets. I guess we don't know if these are like the face commanders of decks, but maybe. I guess we'll find out. And then this one, I love this. Slimefoot and Squee.
Excellent.
Black, red, green for a 3/3 fungus goblin. Whenever Slimefoot and Squee enters the battlefield or attacks, you create a 1/1 green sapperling. And for 1 black, red, green, and sack a sapperling, return Slimefoot and Squee and up to 1 other target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Oh,
Activate only as a sorcery.
another creature? Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's very, very cool.
Incredible.
And excitingly, they said that they're doing something extra special for the commander sets. So there's 5 commander decks. We don't know a lot about them, but what we do know is that to sort of go with the theme of the invasion tree, I guess, is that they're bringing back Plane Chase.
Woo!
Which we're very excited about internally here because we just love Plane Chase.
Oh.
So each commander deck is going to come with 10 Plane Chase cards. Each deck's 10 cards are different from one another, and each of those 10 in a given deck is going to have a phenomenon, 4 reprinted planes, and 5 new planes.
Oh my
So
god.
25 new planes.
Yeah.
Damn.
Pretty exciting. They
But-
showed off one of them. They showed off Tawashi on Kamigawa. Now, of course, if you're watching the video, this is sideways just because of how it has to be, but I'll read it for you. Modified creatures you control have trample, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, draw a card.
Whoa.
And then if you roll chaos, whenever chaos ensues, which is new wording, I love that, distribute 3 +1/+1 counters among 1, 2, or 3 target creatures you control.
God, I love Plane Chase.
So they've changed the word. For those who are not familiar, Plane Chase, see, there's just these plane decks. You can use them with any format you want. We've had a lot of fun in the past with Plane Chase Commander because it's just madness. And every turn, any player at sorcery speed can roll the planar die. And if you roll, I mean, it's basically... the die is special. It has a planeswalk symbol on one face and a chaos symbol on another face. So let's just say it's 1 and 6. If you roll a 6, you get to planeswalk, meaning you turn the next plane over and you go to a new plane, and it has another static ability. And if you roll a 1, you get chaos, which does a thing. And so that's what's happening here. But they've changed the wording so that it specifically says when chaos ensues, which I love.
Such a good way.
The other one they showed off was the Isle of Vesuva on Dominaria. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield, its controller creates a token that is a copy of it.
Whoa.
And whenever chaos ensues, destroy a target creature and all other creatures with the same name as that creature.
Cool.
Yeah. So we're very excited about more Plane Chase.
I am so pumped for Plane Chase. Like, I can't even.
And then the only other thing that they showed off, sort
The
of as
only other thing they showed
well,
off.
as part of this, at that event in Philly, was they picked one card from March of the Machine Aftermath, which is a 50-card set in 5-card boosters, they said. And they said this was the only card that they felt they could show that wasn't too spoilery.
Okay.
And it's the Kenrith's Royal Funeral. So, yeah, it's shoot, what's
Will and Rowan. This
is their parents.
Yeah, but this is their parents. So that's Lyndon and Ken. It's Ken, isn't it? Lyndon, Steadfast Queen,
Yeah.
and Kenrith, the Returned King.
Yeah, do we know Kenrith's first name?
Kenneth.
Yeah, Ken.
Kenneth
Ken for
Kenrith?
Kenneth
short.
Kenrith.
Sure. So yeah, two white black for a legendary enchantment. When the Kenrith's Royal Funeral enters the battlefield, exile up to 2 target legendary creature cards from your graveyard. You draw X cards and lose X life, where X is the greatest mana value among cards exiled this way. Sweet. Legendary creatures spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each card exiled with the Kenrith's Royal Funeral.
Just legendary spells, not legendary creature spells.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, I guess there's 2 things we can infer storyline-wise here. I mean, obviously, the Kenriths die in whatever happened, but enough of Eldraine survives, we assume, that
they can have a funeral.
That they can have a funeral.
They get a funeral, and then also when we go back to Eldraine, not just like the whole whatever the invasion was, but we also just get an Eldraine where the royal family is not there. So what happens?
Exactly. Yeah. Ooh. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. So much stuff there.
Orphaned Children is a very fairy tale trope.
That's true, actually.
Yeah.
Good point. In the weekly MTG from, like, I think the week prior, they showed off a couple of things. They talked a bit about, because they said that, like, they're going to start opening pre-orders for stores to buy the sets that are coming out in the summer. So this information is going to get out anyway, so we may as well share some of it with you now. So they talked a bit about the Lord of the Rings set, and showed off all the packaging art for that. So that looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't show off any cards from the Lord of the Rings set, but there's the set and there are commander decks as part of the release. And they said that the commander decks, or they said that they've since confirmed any reprints will have new Lord of the Rings art. So in the same way that they did for the Warhammer commander decks.
Right.
So everything's thematically connected, which I think is really good. I'm honestly pretty excited for the Lord of the Rings. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. They also talked about and formally announced Commander Masters.
Woo!
So I see you. Is that a grimace or a wince or a smirk or?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Yeah. How does one feel? Who knows?
I mean, I'm glad that we're getting a whole bunch of Commander reprints.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the set Commander Masters is a Masters set, meaning
Yes.
it is entirely reprints.
Yes.
It is not a Commander Horizons thing. This is Commander Masters. It is all reprints. As part of that release, they have 5 commander decks, which will have some new cards in them, as commander decks tend to do, including so we know that one of them is a colorless Eldrazi deck.
Oh, yes.
And it certainly looks like Ulamog is the face commander, so presumably a new Ulamog, though it could be a reprint. We don't know. There's an enchantments deck with a Theros. It looks like a new god, actually.
It looks like Anthusa, her name is.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Let me look her up.
Okay.
This is what somebody said in a Reddit thread, and I was like, "You're right. That's who it does look like."
The green creature with heroic, 4 mana or 5 mana 4/5.
But it looks like she's a god now because she's got that sort of Nyx Starfield in the shadows.
Oh
of
yeah,
her.
maybe.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a hole in the pantheon.
Well, I mean,
wait, did Theros have a black-green god before?
Farika.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We're on Farika completion watch, I suppose. I don't remember the other two, but I do remember that there is a deck called Planeswalker Party, and the face commander appears to be a character called Commodore Guff.
Oh, finally.
Can you, as briefly as possible, explain to me, because you and like other people who are into the lore and who've been around in Magic for a while were like, oh my god, holy crap, they aren't seriously. They're actually acknowledging that this character exists.
I feel like I literally got to explain this earlier because somebody's like, who's Commodore Guff? So the first time they were fighting the Phyrexians way back in the day, Urza compiled this list of powerful planeswalkers that he called the 9 Titans. And we've met some of those 9 Titans before.
Lord Windgrace.
That's right.
Freyalise.
Yes. Christina of the Woods.
Right.
Like all of these cool, powerful people who are all dead. And one of those people who is dead was a guy named Commodore Guff. And he was a Talarian wizard. And he lived in a secret library. And he had books that he had special magical books. And it's not really explained what his planeswalker power is. But
he's on the art for like
Planeswalker's Mirth.
Is it Index or there's Planeswalker? Is there a card called Planeswalker?
There's an enchantment cycle from Plane Chase. Planeswalker's Mirth, I think, or Planeswalker's
He's this
Mischief.
very like gregarious looking like
his power is that he can break the fourth wall. He's aware of what's going on.
So he's
Deadpool, but for the like Jay and Nelly put like a passage up from the Apocalypse books, and literally it says this would never have happened if I was in charge of continuity. Thought Guff, right? Like it's so funny.
And he literally he like looks at he reads the book and is like, hold on, the Phyrexians are going to win the invasion?
Yeah.
That doesn't. I don't like that.
So
That seems like a bad
Bolivar's
idea.
Change the book.
Yeah.
So he erases the book, and then and then it's not written that the Phyrexians will win.
And then they don't win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to get a Bolivar card.
He's like the
as
most
well.
powerful planeswalker that's ever existed.
Captain Crucius? Could we get a Captain Crucius?
Oh yeah.
So before and after?
There's one from Rabia too. One of the Titans is from Rabia. That was depicted on Urza Assembles the Titans.
So anyway, yeah, Commodore Guff is back.
Well, he's never been a card, but he's never had his own card before.
Well, he's here in Pog form.
I'm very, very excited because, like Guff's a you like him or you don't character, and like I feel like he's probably would be extremely annoying as a main character, but as a guy who shows up for a commander set, I think that's
Perfect.
great.
Love it. Terrific. And I'm trying to think what else. Oh, they also on that weekly MTG. This is not a card preview, but they did announce finally at long last, and there was much rejoicing that preferred card style is now going to be coming to Arena in the update. Actually, this week in the new update for Arena, and it's not just default. It's not just basic land, though it is also basic land. You get to choose which basic you want, but also anything if you have like multiple styles or arts among like you look opt, right? There's like 6 different opts on Arena. You can pick which one you would rather have as your default opt.
Thank God.
And so, yeah, default card styles is finally a thing on Arena, and everyone's very, very excited about it, particularly for basic lands. So that's nice.
If I'm going to pay all this gold for like fancy basics, I don't want to be a pain in the butt to have it in every deck, right?
Exactly. Yeah. What else was that about it?
I mean, we've been talking for 50 minutes straight. That was a lot of news
Yeah, I know. I think that was everything.
for now.
They did actually show off 3 cards that are going to be in Commander Masters. Because they are reprints. These are not these are not new cards. So, Capture of Jingzhou.
Zhengzhou.
Thank you.
I think.
3 blue for a sorcery. Take an extra turn after this one. We've got the Dragon. Good old Dragon. 4 white, blue, black, red, green. For a 10/10 dragon avatar, it's got Eminence. So as long as it's in the command zone or on the battlefield, other dragon spells you cast cost 1 less. It's got flying, and whenever one or more dragons you control attack, draw that many cards, then you may put a permanent from your hand onto the battlefield. Just any permanent, why not? And Jeweled Lotus.
Ooh.
So 0 mana artifact, sacrifice it, add 3 mana of 1 color, spend this mana only to cast your commander. And they have some very fancy, cool-looking alternate arts for these. The Jeweled Lotus. Apparently, the sort of the coming out of the card frame is a thing for a bunch of artifacts in the set. The Dragon, this sort of like profile look with the monocolor background, is a thing for legendary creatures, and the Capture of Zhengzhou is just sort of has a alternate cool-looking style.
That card's never been reprinted before, has it?
This one?
Yeah.
It was made a Judge promo, but it did not really. It reduced the cost of the card down from like $500 to like $300.
The P3K version is currently on TCG Player at $400, and the Judge Gifts 2017 one is a little over $200. So, yeah, that seems like a card that could definitely use a reprint, and here it is in Commander Masters. So that's good. Boy, that's fun. Now, I definitely saw a little bit of like, geez, this is too much. Commander Masters doesn't come out till the end of August. That's way off. They were just like, look, we have to show people we have to tell people this product exists so people can start to get ready to pre-order some.
Yeah.
So we may as well show you a couple cards we're reprinting in it.
Magic players tend to absorb the information that is like out there for retailers to make their business decisions. And so like there is a perpetual preview season that can be a lot, but also you could forget about this until it comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but they had to tell retailers it was coming out so they could order it, and so you could know that you wanted to order some
Yeah.
Yeah.
from your local game store or for CardKingdom.com, the sponsor of this podcast.
Oh.
And if they're going to tell retailers, and you're going to find out anyhow, so.
Yeah.
Yep. So, gosh, I can't wait to see more of March of the Machine. I can't wait to see, hopefully there's more of those team-ups. Those are super fun. I'm curious to learn what a battle is, and if indeed those invasions are from those cards, which I think is a safe bet, but who knows. And until then, I'm going to keep doing mediocrely at Phyrexia All Will Be One. I've gotten a bit better. On stream yesterday, we got 6 wins. So, you know.
I think I figured it out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What's your strategy?
2 drops and 3 drops.
Yeah.
Black white is really good.
Black white's good. Blue's good if people are like, oh, but blue's bad. Blue's good if no one else is in blue because everyone thinks blue's bad.
That's true.
You get all the blue cards.
Self-correcting format.
Yeah, exactly.
There's like 2 really good blue cards, and the rest are kind of.
Foxy was
but-
saying Eye of Malkator is a good card.
It is.
Yeah, those cards are fine. Red is pretty good, but red will win you a lot of drafts or let you chain, but the cards aren't good. Like that 1 mana +2/+2/+2 oil counters.
Free from flesh?
Yeah, you're gonna win a lot of games.
Red green oil times is just
Oil Gorger Trolls
can be a good deck.
Sure is a common.
Kenji's strategy, 3-step strategy for being good at this format is step 1, be on the play. Step 2, curve out.
Yeah.
Step 3, don't punt.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I agree. It's like, that's funny, obviously, but being on the play is more relevant, I would think, in this format than others. Because if someone is on the play and they go like, Plains, Crawling Chorus, and you just go land pass, and they have free reign to get the first poison counter on you, you are so far behind.
Yeah.
Especially if then they go swamp, rat, go.
It definitely feels like a truism to say, but like learning how to block and when to block properly is pretty big, because like there are circumstances where you're like, no, you should block this and trade their whatever combat trick of certain mana value for your card that won't actually achieve whatever you want to achieve.
You're trading for a card.
Yeah.
Right? It may not be the card on the battlefield, but you're going to trade your creature for a card, and maybe that's just the play you need to make.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, they were talking about it on limited resources, and it was like, okay, so you don't want that 3rd poison counter on you.
No.
You obviously don't want the 10th on you.
No.
But there's like some areas where between like 5 to 7 that it doesn't really matter that much, right? You're already corrupted.
Yeah.
True.
7 is like, if you're at 7, that's okay.
I get nervous at 7.
Well, there are if you're at 7, there are a lot of board states where you can block and let 2 things through, and depending on what those are, like obviously it depends, but depending on you can take like 4 and go up to 9 poison and kill on the crackback, or like block in such a way that will really help you out and not kill you. But
I'd just be so worried about like
Proliferate.
Whisper of the Dross is a single mana black mana that proliferates.
Yeah,
It's
you don't.
so scary.
You really don't want that 9th poison counter on you, right? Because it's just, especially
You're
if
just in
they're
a
playing
waiting room at
black.
that point. Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like the only
Make 'em-
people who are going to put poison on you are playing black, probably.
make them have it.
Yeah.
And you can have it if you get it from Card Kingdom. Awesome. Check out cardkingdom.com/LRR. There's a sponsor of this show. And we think they're great, and you should check them out and buy your cards there. Also, patreon.com/loadingreadyrun supports everything we do here at Loading Ready Run, and we really appreciate it. James, are we opening nicknames soon?
Probably next week.
All right,
I
we'll
would
tell
think.
you about it
Yeah.
next episode. So tune in for that, for the Phyrexia All Will Be One nicknames nonsense. But until then, that's the episode. So I've been Graham, joined by Kathleen, Wheeler.
Thank you for having me. It was great to be here.
James was on tech. Heather gets these online. Thank you all so much for listening and or watching, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.